I'm Sabrina Zainal, and this is Nightline, news making the headlines. Meteorology Department issues dangerous weather alert for Johor and parts of Pahang. And EPF withdrawal not the solution to tough situations, says Tengku Zafrul. Good morning. The Meteorological Department of Malaysia, Met Malaysia, has issued continuous rain warning at danger, severe and alert levels for most states until Tuesday. It said that danger level continuous torrential rain is forecasted in Johor, involving the districts of Tangkak, Muar, Batu Pahat, Pontian and Johor Bahru on Sunday. It added severe level continuous heavy rain is also expected to occur in Pahang, involving Jerantut, Maran, Kuantan, Bera, Pekan and Rompin, the entire Negeri Sembilan, Melaka as well as Sabah in Sandakan as well as Kudat on Monday. Meanwhile, continuous rain at alert level is expected to occur in Kelantan, Terengganu and Pahang, involving Cameron Highlands, Lipis, Raup, Bentong and Temerloh, while in Sabah it involves the west coast and Kinabatangan until Tuesday. A similar situation is also expected in Perak, involving the districts of Manjung, Kinta, Perak Tengah, Kampar, Bagan Datuk, Hilir Perak, Batang Padang and Mualim and the Klang Valley until Sunday. The floods in Johor have worsened as the number of people evacuated to flood relief centres continues to rise, with Kota Tinggi becoming the third district to be inundated. Based on the Welfare Department, JKM's disaster info portal, the states of Melaka, Pahang and Sabah also showed an increase in the number of flood victims, while the situation remained unchanged in Terengganu. However, Kelantan has fully recovered. In Johor, the number of flood victims in the three affected districts increased to 2,851 people at 46 relief centres on Sunday evening, compared with 1,827 people reported earlier the same day. Elsewhere in Sabah, Pitas became the latest area to be hit by floods, as total evacuees in the state rose to 1,082 individuals in the evening, compared to 1,161 victims just hours earlier, with all of them housed at 17 relief centres. Over in Melaka, the number of evacuees also rose to 1,661 people at 19 relief centres from 1,225 people at 10 centres in the afternoon. In Pahang, the State Disaster Management Committee Secretariat reported that there were 1,819 evacuees at 48 relief centres in 8 districts, while the number of flood victims in Terengganu remained at 137 victims at 2 relief centres in Dungun. The number of flood victims in Negeri Sembilan, however, dropped to 1,842 individuals in 20 relief centres, compared with 2,166 people in the afternoon. Kelantan JKM Director Syed Sidup reported that the state has fully recovered from the floods after the closure of 3 relief centres in Kuala Krai and Jeli due to improved weather conditions. According to Works Ministry's Secretary-General Datuk Wan Uzair Wan Sulaiman, the government is expected to fork out some 1 billion ringgit to repair damaged infrastructure. The ministry is also taking precautionary measures for a possible second wave of floods. Meanwhile, all state and district disaster management committees have been ordered to spring into action following Met Malaysia's warning of continuous heavy rain, as well as the immediate issuance of a disaster operations preparedness notice by the National Disaster Control Centre on Sunday. The National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, said the committees have been told to boost their preparedness level to face any eventuality of flooding and evacuation of victims, especially at high-risk areas. In a statement, NADMA said committees have been told to ensure that each relocation centre is equipped with basic necessities and for control posts on scene to have all and sufficient operational assets in good and ready condition for utilisation. NADMA also advised the public living in coastal areas to be on alert for the high tide phenomenon. The statement added that the phenomenon may be on a smaller scale compared to November last year. However, the situation will be compounded if there are strong winds, huge waves, and heavy downpour happening simultaneously, and this may cause flash floods, seawater overflow, and coastal flooding. The floods that hit parts of the country in the middle of December last year dealt a huge blow to many Malaysians. Some not only lost their homes and belongings, but also their livelihoods. This includes those who rely on tourism activities as their source of income. Hakim Azman reports.
The country's tourism industry is still trying to recover from the impact of the COVID-19 global health crisis. However, the recent devastating floods, which displaced tens of thousands and caused billions of ringgit in losses, has highlighted the fact that the tourism industry could also be brought to its knees by a large-scale disaster unless more effective measures are taken to protect it. According to Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents, MATA spokesperson Nigel Wong, the floods have affected not just the hospitality sector, theme attractions and travel agencies, but also small independent operators who depend on tourism activities to earn a living. He added that it also revealed the weaknesses in the country's preparedness to either prevent or mitigate disasters and its impact on the people.
And we cannot assume that this is just another freak occurrence. The writing is on the wall, and it is a clear signal that the government needs to place much greater emphasis in developing long-term solutions to the problem.
Wong added that Malaysia's tourism assets are at risk of being destroyed if the government does not take any proper action. This is also to ensure the safety of the public, including tourists. Meanwhile, Centre for Environment, Technology and Development Malaysia, SETDEM Chairman Gurmeet Singh KS, said the combination of unchecked overdevelopment, land clearing, deforestation and climate change are major factors that cause natural disasters such as flooding.
Part of the climate change is the severity is going to become worse. That is inevitable unless we can curb the climate change, stop the 1.5 degrees exceeding 1.5 degrees, otherwise it will keep on coming. So we have to be prepared. We have to develop preparedness in the government side, but even the people.
Gurmeet also said to lower the risk of flooding or landslide, the authorities have to monitor and maintain the silt traps built near to exposed slopes. He also advised tourism operators to not put up tourist attractions near rivers due to the high risk of flooding. To date, the government has announced an allocation of 1.4 billion ringgit in cash aid and other forms of relief for those affected by the December floods, and it is also looking into long-term solutions to the flood problem. Flooding is a common occurrence in Malaysia, especially during the monsoon season, causing millions, if not billions, in damages. Yet, not enough efforts have been done to address them. Malaysia's economy could also be in jeopardy if we allow natural disasters to cause disruptions to businesses and economic sectors such as our tourism industry. Hakim Azman, TV3.
Now, all quarters, including those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic and natural disasters such as floods, should not look at the Employees Provident Fund (EPF) as the financial solution to the challenges they face. Finance Minister Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul Abdul Aziz stressed that the purpose of the EPF savings is none other than to prepare for one's old age. In a video posted on his Facebook page on Sunday, Datuk Seri Tengku Zafrul stressed that it was very important for the people to be prepared for old age, as Malaysia is expected to become an aging nation by 2030.
Dalam masa 8 tahun saja, golongan pesara dan warga tua akan merangkumi 15% atau lebih 5.3 juta dari penduduk negara. 8 tahun lagi bukanlah lama. Ini bermakna mereka akan memerlukan simpanan yang lebih banyak untuk membiayai sara hidup selepas bersara.
He explained that the government cannot allow EPF withdrawals for all disasters, as the country has been struck by floods almost every year and may face other disasters such as landslides and fires as well.
Kalau untuk setiap bencana ni kita nak keluarkan simpanan KWSP, sampai bila-bila pun simpanan hari tua ni tak tercapai matlamatnya. Hakikatnya, hampir 50% atau lebih kurang 6 juta pencarum mempunyai baki caruman kurang dari RM10,000.
He added at the moment there were quarters demanding that more EPF withdrawals be allowed, as some see the issue as an easy political mileage. However, he said such demands were not made responsibly and were done recklessly, without careful analysis and thorough calculations. In the meantime, the Health Ministry on Sunday warned that Malaysia has the likelihood to join the long list of countries being hit by a big wave of the more transmissible Omicron COVID-19 variant. Its Minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, said that this was a high possibility after the country's COVID-19 infectivity rate rose to 0.99 as of Saturday. In a tweet on Sunday, Khairi said that a wider booster shot coverage, wearing of face masks, good ventilation, practicing TRIS or Test, Report, Isolate, Inform, Seek, using MySJ Trace and International Gateway Control are among the measures to slow the spread of Omicron. He further tweeted that some have referred to data that the Omicron variant was less severe than the Delta COVID-19 strain. However, he stressed that although it may seem that way, Omicron is more transmissible than Delta. And if the case denominator is larger, hospitalization and ICU admissions will definitely increase. He pointed out that the Health Ministry wanted to avoid the collapse of the healthcare system, adding that the sensible strategy was to slow down the spread of the Omicron variant to avoid such circumstances. As of December 31st, Malaysia has detected 64 COVID-19 cases involving the Omicron variant. 63 of the cases were imported infections, while one was a suspected local case. Meanwhile, Khairi, in another posting on his Twitter account, said that the temporary suspension of travel permission to perform the Umrah is to slow down the spread of the COVID-19 Omicron variant. This, as data obtained by the Health Ministry, showed that almost 78% of the presumptive new Omicron cases are from those returning from the pilgrimage. The Health Minister also said that according to the Institute for Medical Research, IMR, the presumptive Omicron is 100% confirmed Omicron through the full genome sequence. He added that risk assessment will continue to be carried out. On Saturday, Khairi announced that the government had decided to temporarily suspend travel permission to perform Umrah starting January 8th to curb the spread of the Omicron COVID-19 variant. The postponement was due to concerns over the spread of the variant due to non-compliance by Umrah pilgrims with the home quarantine procedure, resulting in infection among family members. 2 doses of Sinovac's COVID-19 vaccine, followed by a booster Pfizer-BioNTech jab, has proven to be highly effective against the coronavirus and at preventing symptomatic disease, hospitalization, and intensive care units ICU admission. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah said existing data showed that the Sinovac-Pfizer mix offered longer-term protection against getting severely ill from COVID-19. In a New Straits Times report on Sunday, Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham advised eligible recipients, especially those who had received Sinovac as their primary vaccine, to get booster doses as its effectiveness starts to wane after a few months. Citing Health Ministry's data, he said that Sarawak, where the majority of the population received Sinovac as the primary vaccine, was the first state to implement booster doses and additional doses starting from October 13th. The state now has the most number of booster shot recipients in the country to date, the majority of whom received Pfizer's vaccine as their booster jab. According to the ministry's COVID Now portal, Sarawak recorded an average of 500 daily admissions to hospitals on August 31st last year and peaked at 611 on September 12th. The figure has dropped to a mere 54 admissions on Saturday, while active ICU admissions also showed a downward trend. Tan Sri Dr. Noor Hisham further said at present there is no change in the ministry's policy and clinical guidelines on COVID-19 vaccination in Malaysia with regards to the number of vaccine boosters required. However, the ministry is still getting more data on the response of vaccination. He was commenting on a preprint study by Yale University in the United States, as well as other institutions, which showed that 2 doses of the Sinovac vaccine with a booster shot of Pfizer looked to be less effective against the Omicron variant compared with other strains. Professor Akiko Iwasaki, one of the authors of the study, on December 30th tweeted that Sinovac vaccine recipients may need 2 additional booster doses to achieve protective levels needed against Omicron. Health Minister Khairi Jamaluddin on Saturday revealed that the ministry's technical committee is studying the need for a possible 4th dose for those who received Sinovac as their primary vaccine. 2 found drowned, 1 still missing in Tawau. This and more when we return. Nightline continues. In Sabah, an outing involving 9 individuals, including 6 siblings, to a beach in Tawau on Saturday turned into a tragedy when their boat capsized in the waters of Batu Payung after being hit by waves. 2 of the victims were found drowned on Sunday morning, while another was still missing. The drowned victims were identified as 15-year-old Saiful Muhaimin, who was found at sea, and his younger brother, Jaidi, aged 5, who was found on the beach. The missing victim was identified as their sister, 20-year-old Rahena, while the rest had been rescued by a passing boat. According to one of the survivors, the incident occurred when water entered the bow of their boat after it was battered by big waves, which caused the vessel to capsize. Following the incident, Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, launched a search and rescue operation with 2 assets. The search is being conducted together with villagers as well as police and civil defense force personnel. In Putrajaya, a decomposed body of a woman was found in a lake near the Skyride Precinct 2 on Saturday. Putrajaya Police Chief Assistant Commissioner A. Asmadi Abdul Aziz said the fully clothed body was found by passers-by who then alerted authorities at about 7 p.m. The deceased, who was about 1.6 meters tall, was found wearing a black miniskirt, a belt and a black blazer over a blue t-shirt. It was believed that the body had been in the water for about 2 or 3 days. However, police have yet to ascertain her identity and urged those with missing family members to contact Putrajaya Police to assist its investigations on the case. The body was taken to Putrajaya Hospital for post-mortem, and the case was classified as sudden death. Still to come, new COVID-19 cases ease in Xi'an after 11 days of lockdown. We're back with the foreign front. Singapore reported more COVID-19 infections among travelers from abroad than local cases for the first time in nearly half a year, testing the resolve of the country to keep its borders open amid the worldwide spread of the Omicron variant. According to data released by the Health Ministry, 260 imported cases were reported as of noon on January 1st, compared to 187 community infections. Now, the last time COVID-19 cases among travelers surpassed local infections was on July 12th. While Singapore has chosen to freeze ticket sales via its vaccinated travel lanes until late January, the business hub's decision to maintain quarantine-free travel for vaccinated people from several countries, including Omicron hotspots such as the UK and the US, is increasingly being tested. Singapore is also depending on further vaccinating what is already one of the most inoculated populations in the world to fend off a potential new wave. About 20,000 children have received their first shot since the vaccination drive for them started on December 27th. Over in China, new COVID-19 cases in the locked-down Xi'an fell to their lowest in a week, health officials said Sunday, as residents faced their 11th day under strict home confinement. According to the National Health Commission, there were 122 fresh infections reported Sunday in the historic northern city, the lowest since December 25th, and down from 174 on Saturday. A spokesperson from China's Disease Control Agency, meanwhile, said there were some positive changes after several rounds of testing and 11 days of lockdown in the city. As of now, only 16 patients are in severe conditions and no deaths have been reported from COVID-19 since January 2021. In other news, Israel targeted Hamas positions in southern Gaza late Saturday night after rockets were fired from the Palestinian enclave. However, there was no immediate confirmation of possible casualties. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, said the attacks targeted a rocket manufacturing facility and Hamas military post. It also blamed the group that runs the Gaza Strip for any violence emanating from the territory it controls. The IDF also announced in a brief message to the press that they were currently carrying out strikes in Gaza. The airstrikes came after 2 rockets were fired from Gaza on Saturday, which landed in the Mediterranean Sea off central Israel. It was not clear whether the rockets were meant to hit Israel, but it was understood that the Hamas group often test-fire missiles toward the sea. Action from the ATP Cup. Stay tuned.
Sejahtera, Anda bersama Buletin Utama.
sports, tennis, the 2022 ATP Cup. John Isner and Taylor Fritz both beat their Canadian opponents as the U.S. clinched a 3-love victory over Canada on Sunday.
The U.S. team made a strong start into the match when Isner beat Braden Schnurr 6-1, 6-4 in 66 minutes to give the Americans the early lead. Fritz then came from a set down to beat number 11 ranked Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-7, 6-4, 6-4 to seal the win before the Americans won the doubles 6-4, 6-4 over Auger-Aliassime and Shapovalov. The Americans will next face Germany for another group stage match on Tuesday.
On to basketball, the NBA. Stephen Curry scored 28 points and had 9 assists as he led the Golden State Warriors to a 123-116 win over the Utah Jazz on Saturday.
In addition to Curry, Warriors got strong performances from Andrew Wiggins with 25 points, Otto Porter with 20 points, and Andre Iguodala, who returned to the court with 12 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds coming off the bench. Curry has now made at least one three-pointer in 158 consecutive games, setting a new NBA record. Meanwhile, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Jordan Clarkson all scored 20 points for the Jazz, but Utah still lost for the 7th time at home this season.
And that's it for Nightline this time around. As we wrap up, we leave you with this incredible time-lapse footage of a sand artist who carved a giant picture of an owl on a beach in the United Kingdom to celebrate the start of 2022 using a garden rake. Claire Eason, aged 55, used the natural rock formations to illustrate the bird's chest plumage, while others were turned into a perch. Take a look. I'm Sabrina Zainal. Thank you for tuning in and stay safe.